You've seen the headlines. Driver shortage hits record high. Trucking faces labor crisis. Supply chains stalled by lack of drivers. But what those headlines don't tell you is why. Why are truck drivers, the people who move 72% of all freight in the U.S., quitting the job that powers the economy? They're not lazy. They're not disappearing. They're just done. And today on Daily Logistics, we're pulling the curtain back on what's really driving this exodus, and what happens to logistics if the wheel keeps turning, with no one behind it. Let's roll. Let's start with a fact most people get wrong. We don't have too few drivers. We have too few drivers willing to stay. Every year, tens of thousands of new drivers enter the industry. CDLs are issued, training schools stay busy, orientation classes stay full. But the real number that matters? Turnover. Some large carriers have annual turnover rates above 90%. That means they're replacing almost their entire workforce every single year. This isn't a labor shortage. It's a retention failure. The image of the open road, freedom, independence, adventure, that's what gets people in. But the reality? You're alone. You're under pressure. You sleep in parking lots. You eat cold meals. You miss birthdays, ball games, funerals. Long-haul driving isn't just a job. It's a lifestyle that consumes you. And while some embrace that life, many don't last. When new drivers hit the road and realize that trucking isn't what the recruiter promised, they quit. Not next year, not next month. Sometimes within weeks. Driver ads flash big numbers. 100K plus possible. Up to $2,000 a week. But behind those numbers is the catch. You're paid per mile, not per hour. You're not paid for delays at the dock. You don't earn during breakdowns. You lose money every time you sit. And those miles? They're not guaranteed. 1 week, you run 3,000 miles. Next week, you sit waiting 2 days for a load. Now add fuel costs, tolls, repairs, especially for owner-operators, and that $2,000 paycheck can shrink fast. Drivers aren't quitting because they want more money. They're quitting because they're not paid for their time. Talk to drivers, and the word that comes up again and again isn't money. It's respect. At the shipper, they're treated like a nuisance. At the receiver, they wait hours with no restroom access. In the media, they're blamed for traffic. On the road, they're squeezed by cars with no clue how long it takes to stop 80,000 pounds. And from their own companies? Some dispatchers don't communicate. Some brokers lie about load details. Some managers only call when something goes wrong. It wears on you. Because trucking isn't just tiring, it's thankless. No one's against safety. But over the past decade, drivers have been buried under compliance pressure. Electronic logging devices, ELDs, hours of service rules, mandatory rest breaks, new emissions standards, insurance costs skyrocketing. Each rule has merit, but together they create a system that punishes small mistakes and rewards almost no flexibility. A driver may be 20 minutes from delivery, but forced to park for 10 hours because their clock ran out. And if they push the line to make it, fines, points, penalties, it's not just regulation, it's rigidity. And it's pushing drivers out faster than it's pulling new ones in. If you've driven, or still do, we want to hear from you. What's the real reason drivers are leaving the industry? Was it money, burnout, family, bad dispatching? Drop your story in the comments. The more we talk about it, the more we change it. And if this episode speaks your truth, subscribe to Daily Logistics. We tell it straight. No hype, no filters. Let's keep going. During the pandemic boom, spot market rates spiked. Owner-operators made good money, and many independents jumped in. But in 2022 to 2023, rates dropped, fuel prices surged, and the balance flipped. Now, many owner-operators are running at a loss, taking cheap loads just to cover truck payments, facing stricter insurance terms, struggling to find reliable dispatch. Some leased onto bigger carriers, some sold their rigs. Others walked away, not because they couldn't drive, but because the math stopped working. For many, it's not quitting, it's cutting losses. This isn't just a driver issue. When trucks don't move, freight stalls. When freight stalls, inventory dries up. When inventory dries up, businesses lose customers. It's a chain reaction, and the impact isn't in the future. It's already here. Warehouses are adjusting fulfillment windows. Retailers are reshuffling seasonal plans. 3PLs are paying premiums to cover loads. Shippers are struggling to lock in long-term capacity. Even if freight volumes drop, capacity remains tight because the labor pool isn't growing with it. The industry isn't short on trucks. It's short on trust from drivers who've had enough. There's no magic fix, but there are real changes that matter. Pay for time, not just miles. Waiting at a dock is still work. Drivers should be paid for all of it. Respect starts at the gate. Let drivers use the restroom. Stop treating them like liabilities. Smarter regulation, not just stricter. Allow flexibility where safety isn't at risk. One size fits all doesn't work on the road. Better training, realistic onboarding. Set expectations honestly. Teach both driving and survival. Family-friendly freight. Local and regional routes need stronger support. Not every job needs to be over the road. Because when drivers feel seen and paid for their time, not just miles, they stay. And when they stay, the whole system flows. Drivers aren't quitting because they don't want to work. They're quitting because the job, as it stands, often doesn't work for them. They're done sacrificing time, health, and family for a system that often doesn't give enough back. And if the industry doesn't adjust, the logistics world, from warehouse to retailer to end customer, will keep paying the price. So if you're building a dispatch team, running a fleet, or entering this field, listen to what drivers are saying. They're not the problem. They're the signal. This is Daily Logistics, and if this message hits home, give it a like, drop your thoughts below, and subscribe for more real talk about the backbone of supply. Stay fair, stay aware, and keep it daily.